Men won't tell you this, but I will. I ran an escort agency for 5 years. My client list is over 10,000 names. Many of these men were repeat customers. In fact, they had to jump through hoops to get an appointment with the agency. They had to verify their identity. They had to call and confirm at a set time. And if they were coming to our location, they had to call from outside so that I knew that they were there and not just trying to get our address. What men won't tell you is that inconsistency is a choice. They won't tell you this because they want you to think that it'll get better. They want you to come up with some excuse for their behavior so they can continue to string you along. If a man is not showing up for you consistently, that is your sign to walk away. You deserve better. Leave me a comment below if you agree.
Welcome to The Wall. Today you'll see women who not only scoff at a coffee date, but think that holding the door for them or giving them a gift is just the bare minimum. They call themselves princesses, yet bring no attitude, no reciprocity, and no values. Just demands. The result? More and more men are steering clear of them. Help us reach 170,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. We always highlight the best one. And endless thanks to the fans who watch our daily videos. Let's get started.
He was such a gentleman. He paid for my bill, he opened the door, and he even got me a ride back home.
That's bare minimum.
But he bought me flowers.
That's bare minimum.
He even bought me a present.
That's bare minimum.
He said he will marry me.
That's bare minimum.
Here's a little bit of college dating advice. I call this Margot Robbie theory. It's kind of inspired by some of Tinks's theories. So here we go. A lot of guys' celebrity crush is like Margot Robbie or someone like that. And I bet if she were to come into their town and they were to ask her out on a date, they'd treat her a certain way. They'd treat her amazingly, like they'd pay for her dinner, they would give her the utmost respect, they'd probably respond to her texts within a timely manner. So my point of the theory is, you shouldn't accept anything less than that from a guy. If you like a guy and you want him to be your boyfriend, you would want him to treat you like he would treat his celebrity crush. So you should not accept anything less than that. If you know they're capable of treating some girl better, whether it be their celebrity crush or the girl next door better than you, they're not the guy.
Oh, hell no!
This video shows just how twisted the idea of the bare minimum has become. To them, the bare minimum is a man paying, treating them like a queen, showering them with gifts and compliments. But if you flip the question, what's the bare minimum a man can expect from a woman? Suddenly, they go silent. Because it's not about flowers or gifts. It's about reciprocity. A man puts in effort, time, money, attention, and many times, he doesn't even get respect or a sincere gesture in return. The problem is, they were taught that demanding is empowerment, but offering something of value is lowering themselves. And that mindset is exactly what's leaving them alone, thinking their worth lies in the price they set, not in the loyalty they give.
I heard a creator say this, and I don't remember who it was. But she said, the reason why you don't get princess treatment or you don't get treated the way that you want to get treated is because you're not his dream girl. And boy, that shit sat with me.
He bought me flowers for my birthday yesterday.
Bare minimum.
Oh my god, he opened the door for me today.
Bare minimum.
He gave me his jacket yesterday because I was freezing.
Bare minimum. Bare minimum.
Now I'm going to give you a test to see if you actually idolize the bare minimum, and the signs are if you romanticize or get overly happy at any of the following things. Let's go. When he opens doors for you, when he's polite to service staff, when he has basic communication skills like listening to you, responding to what you said, asking how your day was, when he responds to a text and doesn't take too long to respond back, when he wants to spend time with you and actually initiates plans to hang out, when they have manners, when they're a kind, genuine person, when they text you good morning, when they use the sidewalk rule, and lastly, when they're there for you, they're patient with you, they don't overreact, they don't shout, they don't let you go to bed upset. Everything I just said is literally the bare minimum. But my rule is that the bare minimum is whatever you want it to be. And the higher bare minimum standard you set, the more high quality dating experiences you are going to have as a result.
In short, if you're a decent guy, you're just doing the bare minimum. I miss the days when men and women genuinely fell in love with the person, when a woman looked for a man with values, and a man cared about a woman's purity and upbringing. Nowadays, There are all these ridiculous rules they call standards, which are really just demands women try to impose on men. And the worst part is, they don't even hold these so-called standards for the guy they actually want, only for the one they don't. Because when it's the guy they do like, they make it real easy for him. Brother, if a woman is asking for the moon on the first date, demanding gifts or an investment you wouldn't even make for yourself, understand this. She's not interested in you. She's interested in what she can get. Don't get it twisted. A man who respects himself doesn't pay for attention, and definitely not for love.
Women.
Stop giving women the princess treatment. The whole reason that princess treatment existed was because women needed it. The feminist movement took a hold of that. They took advantage of men that were really having a hard time post Second World War, and they had a lot of PTSD. And then they were asked to just basically start being perfect husbands in the idealistic American dream, mowing the lawn. Meanwhile, 5 years earlier, they'd seen their friends unalive on the battlefield. Here we are in 2025, and what women have done is they've said, right, well, we want our own freedom, we want our own money, we want to do what we want. And we've gone, all right, so now we're here. But the issue we have right now with dating is that women still want those traditional treatments towards them from the men. And they say, we don't need no man, we want a man. But if you as a man say, well, I'm going to pay 50-50 on a first date, these women are rejecting that on the principle of that's not masculine. They're looking for leadership. Men, be careful. They're not looking for masculinity. What they're looking for is cosplay masculinity. They're looking for masculinity through the lens of femininity. And they are imposing what they fantasize as masculinity on the men. And you guys out there, a lot of you are getting your head around this and are starting to shift your position. But there's still a lot of men that are conforming to this idea. But as we're seeing, women are complaining now that men are not going along with that. And then they'll start shaming the men, saying they're not masculine. But it's they're not masculine through their eyes. And what women have to understand is that masculinity does not conform to femininity. It actually dominates it. And when true masculinity is in place, it doesn't move. It is very clear. It says, these are the rules. This is the frame. You either enter into it or you don't. But if you don't want to enter into it, we are not conforming to you. And what women want is for you to become their Prince Charming, their caricature of what they want masculinity is, which essentially means we will follow you. We want you to be the leader as long as we agree with where you're going. Now, obviously, leaders have to inspire their followers to follow them. But the paradox here is that the impetus is reversed, meaning the women are dictating the path, and then they want the man to conform to the path so that they can follow those men. And that is not leadership. That is cuckolding men. And we've been doing it for far too long. So, men, it is time to derive and stand in your ground. Hold the line, know your standards, know your worth, become a man worth following, as I'm keeping saying right now. And women are going to have to understand that at some point they're either going to have to acquiesce to the equality that they asked for, or they're going to have to submit and surrender and understand that it's not just about paying bills or paying money equally. It's actually about surrendering career-driven obsession and their competitive nature and the masculinity that they've adopted to be successful in that world. They have to submit and surrender that. Whether they do it or not is up to them. But men, at some point, will have had enough. And right now, it's looking like that's going to be the way it is.
I think he's partly right. Masculinity is something each man interprets through his own perspective. That said, I don't agree with the idea of splitting the bill 50-50 on a first date. I've always said the first date should be something simple, a coffee, a place where you can actually talk and get to know the woman. That's why I pay on the first date, because out of 10 women you suggest splitting the check with, 9 of those dates will go nowhere. You don't invite a woman out unless you're genuinely interested in her. The guy makes a valid point. These days, a lot of women don't really want a man. They want their fantasy version of what a man should be. A woman should step into your frame, your life purpose. If she doesn't share your values, doesn't have family goals, or doesn't believe in your leadership, especially when it comes to finances, then she's not the right one for you. It's true that many women with masculine energy and strong personalities will try to dictate the direction of the relationship. That's why you've got to stay solid in your purpose. That doesn't make you a tyrant. It makes you a man who knows how to lead, communicate, and set a vision. That's how I see it. My advice is always meant to help you grow and stay in control of your life.
I keep seeing girls online talking about how they are higher value than a coffee date. And I think that that's kind of crazy because if you value your time, if you're dating online, you would not put yourself in the situation where you're spending 3 hours with a complete stranger that you don't even know if you're attracted to yet. Yeah, I think people's egos are getting to them way too much, and people are listening too much to what people online are saying, and you are literally disrespecting your own time by going and accompanying a man for dinner for 2 to 3 hours. Again, if you don't even know what he's like, and if he is going and buying you an expensive dinner and he doesn't even know what you're like, that shows his worth is very low, because you could just be a catfish. And I don't mean a complete catfish, but I mean, you might not be representative of what your profile pictures look like. And you probably have more to offer than that. And so if a guy is just willing to treat you to dinner because of what you look like online, that shows a lot about his character too. So not only those two things, but in addition to that, it's if you just want a nice dinner, you should be on Seeking Arrangements and not on regular dating apps, because you can get paid $800 to go out to dinner and accompany a guy. That's how much your value is actually worth. And then on top of that, you'll get whatever $200 worth of food. So if you really just care about money, then you should be on a different platform. And if you respect your time and you're actually trying to find somebody, then the first date should be low pressure. It shouldn't involve alcohol, and it shouldn't be a marathon date. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Applause for this woman. She's got her feet on the ground. The first date is about getting to know each other. You go in with the intention to talk, see if there's chemistry, and confirm whether the person matches who they claim to be on their profile. If you're not into it, you simply walk away. No pressure. And honestly, this setup benefits women the most. In a simple date, they can see if the guy is right for them, if he makes them feel comfortable, or if he's someone they don't want to see again. On top of that, a lot of women asking for fancy dinners only want the setting for Instagram photos, where everything shows up except you. That's why I always say, the first date should be coffee. It's quick, practical, and comfortable for both sides. If it goes well, the second date will be even better. And that's when a man can step things up, because now he knows he genuinely likes that woman.
I swear, if I have to hear another video explaining why men should pay on the first date, I'm going to scream. Welcome to my bathroom. Today, let's talk about first date rules. There are a few rules that we believe men should do on the first date, but no rule has been so over-explained on the internet as men paying for the first date. I don't know why, as women, we feel the need to constantly over-explain and justify why men should do completely normal behaviors, if not the absolute bare minimum. Because a man paying on the first date is truly the absolute bare minimum. If you ever need to explain to a man why he should be paying on the first date, he's not your man. You do not need to justify why, you don't have to justify how. You just need to kick him to the curb, end of story. I'm really getting sick and tired of the content online explaining to women why men should pay on the first date. It almost feels like the internet is saying oh, women, you ask for so much all the time, but in this case, you're not asking for too much. You know that there are some men that have a fear that they might offend the woman by assuming they would pay on the first date and that the woman can't pay on the first date. But you never offend a woman by being a gentleman. You offend her when your tiny little ego can't get over the fact fact that she actually makes enough money to support herself, and therefore you expect her to go split seas on the first date instead. I also think that this narrative of men paying on the first date can be really dangerous to women when it comes to dating. I think some women cling on to this rule as a way to give the guy a green light. I see a lot of women accept lackluster behavior from men just because they paid on the first date. Like, sure, the guy didn't ask a single question and talked about himself the whole time, but he did pay, so we're going on a second date. No, don't condone that behavior. Or sure, he didn't text me back for a week, but he paid on the first date, so I'll go on a second. Again, no, do not accept that behavior. Paying on the first date is simply the bare minimum, and it shouldn't be the end-all be-all for if you should continue seeing someone or not. It's just one piece of the puzzle to assessing whether or not you're compatible with somebody. If you want them to pay on the first date and they don't, you don't have to go out with them again. Or if they do pay on the first date but they treat you like shit in the process, you shouldn't have to go out with them again either. When you're out there on your dates, you are collecting data points, asking yourself, how does this guy make me feel? And do I even like his vibe to see him again? What you're not doing is getting hung up on the first date rules, like paying on the first date, because that's just the bare minimum. And whatever you do, never justify yourself, because if you start doing that on the first date, you'll live a whole life fighting for the things that you want. And with that, have a good day.
I don't know if it's just that we're living in different times or if it's my values as a man, but I always pay on the first date. That said, I always go for a coffee or a small cafe, somewhere I know the bill won't be high, and, more importantly, where I can actually talk to the woman I invited. My second rule is to ask more questions. My goal is to get information, let her talk more. Based on what she tells me and what she's into, I adjust the conversation to keep things flowing. That strategy has always worked for me. Some guys split the bill. That doesn't work for me, but it works for them, probably because they're chads, like 8s to 10s in looks, and women don't mind. I'm just an average guy, so I stick to my style. Then you've got other men taking women to expensive restaurants, some because they've got money, others because they let the woman's demands lead the way, and they end up rejected and stuck with a huge bill. That's why I tell men, you should plan the first date. Pick a spot where you're comfortable and that you can afford. If you're inviting a woman, it's because you're genuinely interested, but if she starts throwing out ridiculous conditions, drop her. She's using you like a simp. Let her hit the wall and move on to the next one.
Women.
We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. Do you agree with going 50-50 on dates? When you invite a woman on a first date, what's your best move to make it go well? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and keeps us motivated to bring you more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.